Ayo, and hello all. I'm glad you made it back, or decided to have a view about these videos. Let's break down the turnaround sidekick some more. In this March 9th session, I mentioned that my body is about 75% energy level, 75% good to go. And I also mentioned that I feel some sluggishness on some strikes. Well, these turnaround sidekicks should prove what I feel. But this ain't about editing my best of, so keeping it real, let's make the best of it. Don't underestimate where your foot lands. It's not an arbitrary thing. Different spots and distances will allow you to do different things. Everything isn't always part of advancing. You can strike while moving backwards. As many of your kicks as possible should have a version for when you're moving backwards. You can have a little hop in your pivot for extra pop. I'll exaggerate it a bit for demonstration. Sometimes it's not a full hop, but a little extra in the pivot, a little oomph. Again, be mindful of landing your foot. Different spots and distances will allow you to do different things. Here's the turnaround sidekick with bailout finish. Okay, maybe that's not really a thing, but there's definitely no bailout or half-stepping when you pivot for the turnaround sidekick. Poor footwork here will easily tear your groin apart and have you badly missing your mark. Punch fake into the kick. And I didn't like taking my sweet ass time landing the foot. So, again, that's a bit better. Combos into the turnaround. It's important to visualize or note a target, because turnaround moves are unforgiving if you should be off target. Regarding your stance, I've said this before. Find your usual punching sparring stance and practice throwing kicks from that same stance. Easily, line up and throw a few punches as you would normally, and note your foot position. Now, from that position, practice your kicks. Especially practice not adjusting and doing extra moves before kicking. Here's a basic example of what I just said. Punching a few times to put my body in its usual punch position, and then kick. Here's some lower kicks, because I'm not always fighting basketball players. Notice how my head almost leads. Anything less is striking blindly. Here, have a look. Pun intended. This is what not to do, or what to do if you want to be blindsided. What you want to do is treat your head movement like you do your strikes, with conviction, with effort and mindfulness. Especially your turnaround stuff. From this rotation, lift up the kicking leg into its chamber, not dragging outward or beyond your center body mass. Even if, in movement, your kicking foot ends up ahead of you, the point is to go directly into the chamber, rather than slope upwards from ground to target. That goes for kicking foot behind you also. Here, let me try a few. Yeah, you can see I'm not totally feeling it. I grade myself maybe a B. The kicks are okay. They're okay. Let's try a high one and a low mid-range one. At least I was on target. But this lack of that I'm feeling is making me point out to you to be explosive, especially if you're going to turn your back to your opponent. Keeping it simple, you want to give your opponent as little reaction time as possible. What I'm thinking is throw a good combo. Keep balance, guarded, and especially guarded when I'm done. Okay, ready? That's not bad. If I was to do a bunch of sets of that, I'd work it so my hands moved less for balance. Anyway, here's a maybe I'll kick moment. Yeah, I didn't, but it did remind me of the lean back out of reach while punching technique. And yeah, it does go well with the crouching and dipping styles. So now I'm thinking no extra movements. Kick from in place from wherever you are to start, kick from there. Land tight, be guarded, and do it again. And do it again. Again, do it again. By now, I'm feeling very slow. These shoes feel like a couple of pounds, a couple of stones. So, I walk and think of another drill, another practice. And a good one is to have a cyclic walkabout and to be able to kick or do any strike from some point during your walkabout. Let's try it. While walking, throw a strike and try not to do too many extra adjustments and stuff in order to strike. Sometimes I go through the motions, the chamber. It's not always a full kick, but a practice and trigger reflex stimulus. All right.